One of the most alluring mods to make neural networks smarter is making the activation functions have trainable parameters in them. I actually tried doing something like this in a previous video and thought I invented something new, but it turns out this idea actually dates back to the 1990s. I didn't even know they had electricity back then. Most attempts either use completely smooth curves without any discontinuities in the derivative, aka sharp bits, or they don't use smooth curves, but they do have slope discontinuities. So number one, I want to try my hand at designing one of these smart activations and hopefully improve on the previous ones. And number two, explore how exactly they change a neural net's behavior. Let's get straight to designing. The trainable activations that I made up work like that. Take regular tanh for its smooth curve that others are missing. Then add to it a variable slope on the positive and negative side, controlled by parameters b and c. This is to add a derivative discontinuity in the middle that a lot of previous attempts don't implement. Finally, I multiply the input by parameter a, so the neural net has control over how aggressive in general the function is. I'll refer to it as smart tanh from now. Nothing smart about it, just a catchy name. Let's train one image classifier with this activation function, and one with plain relu as control to compare against. Check out the CUDA util. Besides that, I should probably explain what architecture and dataset I'm running. As I said, it's an image classifier. It inputs 64 by 64 color images before running them through 6 convolution layers and 3 linear layers. Finally, outputting 200 classes. And the dataset that I'm using is TinyImageNet with 100k training and 10k evaluation images. Okay, the smart tanh versus relu training ended, and we see that the SmartNet converged better than relu. It also got a higher accuracy on the evaluation set. If you were to just show me these graphs without telling me anything, I'd say the blue line is just a heavier net that has an easier time fitting the dataset. That can't be, since the number of parameters that's added by the activation functions is negligible, only 3 per layer. To investigate this, let's plot each smart tanh over time during training to see if they were doing anything sneaky. There's definitely less change than I expected. To get a more precise visual, let's also plot the motions of each parameter itself over time. It looks like the motions slow down by the end of the training, as if the parameters were approaching their optimal spot. However, this slowdown correlates with the train loss plateauing. I'm pretty sure the optimizer just let off the gas and there was no actual optimal value here. At this point, an outside perspective would help to see if my smart tanh is up to par. Let's bring in a trainable activation function called parametric relu. It works by having a single parameter controlling the slope of the tail initialized at 0.25. I chose specifically prelu because the single parameter will make it easier to analyze and also ease of implementation, of course. Let's launch its training and compare. While prelu is training, I have a theory as to why the smart tanh activations train faster and get lower loss than relu. When activation functions get steeper, small changes in the parameters in that layer have big effects on the output, aka steeper gradients. This makes the optimizer take bigger steps, thus raising the effective learning rate in that layer. On average, there's a trend for my smart tanh, prelu, and quote-unquote designed activations like swish and gelu to have a more aggressive slope than quote-unquote naive activation functions like sigmoid, regular relu, and regular tanh. So in theory, the primitive ones should train slower if more stable than smart tanh, prelu, and the others. However, this makes sense only on optimizers like SGD, but I'm using Adam, which should normalize this away. I'm still pretty sure that this more high contrast loss map causes Adam to somehow work faster. Enough theorizing, I'm pretty sure I set up the experiment wrong now that I'm thinking about it. Using relu as control doesn't actually test if the trainability of the functions itself is what's improving the neural nets, since the shapes themselves can be improving results without even having to be trainable. To test for trainability specifically, we need to use randomly initialized and frozen versions of smart tanh and prelu to compare against. Let's launch this new control run And while it's training, analyze what prelu did during its run. On the big picture graphs, as you can see, prelu outperformed both smart-nh and regular relu. Onto the shape analysis. It for sure was more active than the smart-nh, especially after taking into account that its parameter is initialized at 0.25 and not randomly. Here's also the param motion over time. This time I do think the parameters had an optimal spot, because unlike smart-nh, their slowdown doesn't correlate with the train loss plateauing. Okay, I put all the graphs of the unfrozen and frozen runs on the same plots, and they do all outperform plain relu, but the frozen are still slightly worse on average than the unfrozen ones. Final debrief. To answer the second question from the beginning, what does this all tell us? I'll interpret these results as the interesting shapes of the functions are what's actually doing most of the heavy lifting, while the trainability itself does give the network a stronger ability to express the dataset. As for why it's like that, I can only speculate that the interesting shapes of the smart-nh and prelu let layers specialize around the functions, which somehow helps them, while the trainability itself only makes this process go smoother. And the first question? It was a valiant effort, but I wasn't able to improve on previous attempts at trainable activation functions with my smart-nh. As usual, all the code is open source on GitHub, and if you want to join a Roko's Basilisk cult, there will be a Discord link in the description. Thanks for watching.